Hello, hello, hello. Patricia here, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, but more specifically in Alaska. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here. We are going to do a fun fold today that, there is absolutely nothing wrong, nothing in the world wrong with a very simple card that opens up and has a greeting. There is nothing wrong with that, and I do many of those. But sometimes I love to do a fun fold that is just really cool. And this is, I think, one of those. We are going to do it with this suite. A suite is where there's cards, DSP, Designer Series paper. There might be other papers. In this case, there are 2 stamp and die bundles. These are all the colors, just gorgeous. I love this one. If you have the new catalog, this is the May to August 2026 catalog. If you do not have the new catalog and would like to have this and do not have a demonstrator that you already work with, if you have somebody you already work with or you're a demonstrator yourself, get your own. Get from your demonstrator. But if you don't have a demonstrator and would like for me to send you a catalog, I am more than happy to do that. This suite is on page 26 and 27 plus, I think that's just it. Okay, so let's look at what we're going to do. Here are 2 different cards that I have already created using, using this suite. This is the first one. I love it because it will stand up, if you're not putting it on a paper trimmer, just fine on your mantle or wherever you want to display it. Here is another one going the other direction. Now, to be honest, I made the mistake and put this in there upside down, but that's okay. I made it work, okay? So we can do it from either direction. So this is what we're going to make. And you look at that and you're going, oh, Patricia, that's way too difficult. No, it's not. It's very, very easy. So the first thing we're going to do is, decide on the Designer Series paper that we want to use. And obviously this is the one that I am going to use. These are the papers. This is what they look like. You get 6 of 8 different designs. And this is the back of them. Aren't those just gorgeous? And I actually have one using the back of one of these. I never thought I'd do that, but this is the Scenic Coast 6x6 specialty designer paper. Now, what that means, specialty, is it has this shimmer on it. Can you see that? And I'm going to show you how we're going to make some more shimmer on this card. But for right now, the one that I wanted to use was, let's see, I thought I had it out and I don't see it, so I'm going to have to choose. Oh, here, let's use this one. I think I like that one. Yeah, okay, let's use this one. Now, the reason I'm sort of hesitating is because I already have my cardstock and I want to make sure that it's got that color in there. So that one does. This is Calypso Coral. The colors, Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry. I knew that wasn't right. The colors in this DSP are Balmy Blue, Blueberry Bushel, Crushed Curry, Gorgeous Grape, Highland Heather, and Strawberry Slush. Now that helps you when you're trying to decide what color you want to do. On this one, I did Gorgeous Grape, and on this one, I didn't even use one from the Designer Series paper. This is Secret Sea. People are calling it the new black. I love it, though. It's a gorgeous paper. So we are going to use this, and I'm going to show you how to cut both of these, and this one card will use almost all of this and almost all of this, and it's very easy. So the first thing we're going to do is cut our cardstock. Let me move some things out of the way here. so that I can put my arm out. Boy, I've got a lot of stuff in the way, don't I? I know you can't see it. You're going, I don't know, Patricia, do you? All right, so let's move things over. I want you to be able to see it, but I do need to put this arm out. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cut this how we would normally cut for a card base, okay? We want to make sure it's straight up along this line. We do not want to get it crooked. And then we want to cut it at 5.5 on the the 11.5 inch side. 11-inch side, we want to cut it in half at 5.5. This one, we're going to set aside. This one is now 5.5 inches, okay, because we cut it in half, and we are going to cut it at 4.25, okay, and 3.5. All right. Oop. Don't want to score it. I want to cut it. And this is what's left over. We can use that for something, but probably not on this card. Now what we want to do is take the larger one, and we are going to score it. So write these down if you want, although I will be sure you have all of these score marks when we get close to the end, if you'll remind me, right? Just kidding. Okay, first thing we're going to do is cut off 1/2 inch because we want 5.5 by 8. All right, so we're going to cut off 1/2 inch. That also we're going to set aside. And then we're going to start over here on the far left side of our cardstock. Be sure it's straight up against that line. And we are going to score, not cut. We are going to score at 1.5. Score 2 3/4. Score 5 1/4. Score and 6.5. 6.5 is just on the bar, the long mark. Okay, so we're going to put it on there. Be sure it's straight up against the top again and right on that score line, or on that line, and score again. Okay, that is not all. That is all we're going to do with the card base, but let's put that arm up so that we can get to our paper. I don't think this was the one I had chosen. You know what? I really wanted that other one because it was so pretty, but now I don't even know what I did with it all. Hold on, here it is. Not that they're not all pretty, but I think I'm going to use this one. I really like that. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so then my horizon line, we're talking artistically, is pretty much right in the middle. And I really don't want it right in the middle. And I need to cut off 3/4 inch. I could cut some at the bottom and some at the top, but I want to make my sky a little more prominent than I want my ocean. So I'm going to cut off 3/4 inch on one side or the other, or I can cut off some at the top and some at the bottom. Okay, now with it sitting like this, let me show you what we're doing here. We've got 3/4 inch here, 1 1/4 here, 3 1/4 here, and 3/4 inch here. So that's what we're going to cut in that order because they need to be on that card in that order. So I've already cut my 3/4 inch off of the top and or bottom, and I'm going to cut 3/4 inch. Then I'm going to cut 3.5 or 3 1/4, 3 1/4, 3 1/4. Get that right on there. Be sure it's straight up at the top. Cut 3 1/4, 1 1/4, and I will have 3/4 inch left. We are done with the cutting. So let's set those aside. Put our paper trimmer away for the moment. Okay, so bring all of this back in. Set that aside for the moment. This is our card part of our card base, I should say. This is the one that's 8 inches by 5.5. And my score lines, I have 2 on either end that are the same. So I'm going to fold okay, so I've got one here and one here. I'm going to fold the second one in, and then the first one back on it. I'm going to turn it around and do exactly the same thing. Fold the second one in, and the first one back out. Then, once I've done that, they should pretty much match up here. Then I'm going to take my bone folder and give it a good burnish. Okay, because I want these to somewhat lay flat. There's several layers, so, okay, could get that out from under there. That would help a little bit, right? Okay, give that a good burnish on all of those. Then this piece is going to go exactly on here in the middle, as exact as I can get. Now, here's my issue with this. It's really hard to glue this down and have it exactly in the middle. I probably have it as close as I've ever had it in doing this, and I've made several of them. So I could, if I've got this exact, I could just lift this up and put glue under here. But let me show you maybe a little bit easier way to do it. First of all, I'm going to take my 2 pieces that go, let me show you this again, that go on either side here, okay? So I'm going to put these on here because once I do that, then this is where this goes, and it's much easier to see that. All right, I have glue in a cup. This is the funniest thing. Somebody had I saw this on a video. They had a thing of glue. Let me show you. This was their glue. Whoops, I got a piece of hair on there. And no more glue would come out. And I had one too, it just so happens. And so I was like, oh, there's a lot of glue in there. So I cut it in half. Now here's the deal. Don't cut it in half when it's anywhere near your project, because what I had happen is it went spraying and got on a project. So don't do that. But then I put it in a cup like this, and I'm just going to take either a, whatever these things are called, or a paintbrush or something, and I'm going to spread my glue. Now, here's the deal with this. You probably want to use as much of that leftover glue as you can in one fell swoop, because I don't know that it's going to stay in that little cup very well. So I'm just going to I should not be doing that on my project, should I? So I am going to put some glue on here and kind of spread it. Because if you're like me, I can't stand waste. It drives me nuts. And I put it on the wrong side. Can you believe I just did that? You know what? Boy, I'm not going to worry about it. This will not be perfect. Oh, you know what? No, that one's not either. Okay. So don't do like I do. Do like I say. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to put it on there. And there we go. And then this one is the correct one. That goes there. Yes. So I'm going to turn it over. And again, not on top of my project. And I am going to put my glue on here and smear it. There we go. It is the correct direction. And my red goes to the top. All right. Put that in there. Use your, let it move it around a little bit. Come on. You can do this. Come on. Before you lay it down, be sure you've got it where you want it. All right, there we go. Nicely done. Now, this piece goes in the middle. So I'm going to pick up some more glue out of there. And because I've got so much space on here, I've got plenty of use with that spatula. Spatula, that's what that thing is called. And I'm going to spread that glue around. Okay, there we go. And this is going to go at the center. Now, I will tell you this is kind of a little trick I discovered, is if you set it up straight, it's going to sit on your table, so, or desk, or whatever you've got. So be sure it's in the right space before you put it down. Come on. And be sure it's flat. Well, you know what? If I don't videotape this, I can do it just fine. It's really not difficult. All right, it's matching at the top. So that means it'll match at the bottom. There we go. Oh, perfect. Okay. I told you it's not that difficult. Okay, there we go. Now I want to take this piece and I want some more glue on it. And it is going to go on this right flap. If I put that in there, okay? It's going to go on the right flap, just like that. I've got the correct side. It's matching up. Very good. See, the right one is really the one that needs to be correct anyway, so this one is not going to show up as much. Then this third piece is what is going to have this. So I'm going to take some more glue. You know, I kind of like putting the glue on with this spatula. This is kind of cool. I wouldn't want to do it maybe all the time, but boy, you really do have a lot of control over where that glue goes. Okay, there we go. And this goes on here. Be sure you have it where you want it before you put it down, because you are doing it a little bit thinner. All right, I do have a tiny little bit of glue down here. I'm going to scrape it up with my finger, and then I'll get my glue eraser and erase that. Got just a tiny little bit in the corner here that needs to, there we go. Perfect. I'm going to get that out of the way because I'm pretty much done with that. Oh, I'm not quite done with it. Almost. Now, this is going to go right here against this edge. I do not want any glue over on this side, so I'm going to put my glue on here. Okay, so put that glue on there. It can go right to the edge, but obviously not over. And line it up, top and bottom, and make sure it's, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times I've made this card, and I never have this much trouble. It's because I'm videoing. I'm telling you, it is. All right, there we go. Now, how gorgeous is that? I just love that. Okay, now we need to do our inside. And our inside is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. And it's going to go right there. But we don't want to put it in until we have stamped it. You know that, right? Here's another thing. Every now and again, when you're cutting something, do you see a little bitty lip on there? Just take your bone folder and press that out. It's very easy to do. It's because your blade might be getting a little bit dull. I did get a little bit of glue, so I'm going to use my hand sanitizer I found that's the easiest way to take it off. All right, so what we're going to do on the inside for this is I've got the Sunset Coast, and I want to put a little bit of ocean or water and my sun. So I'm going to grab these out, and I've got my little sun, and I've got my little ocean, and I might put a little ship on there. There's my little ocean. And so let's put these on some blocks. There and there. And I do have a little tiny A that we don't have anymore, unfortunately. All right, so I've got those on my block. And now what I want to do is choose a color that might be in here, particularly for my water. So I'm reaching. I'm going to take Blueberry Bushel, and I'm going to do crushed curry. That's the color of my paper. And I'm going to put my little sun on there. Be sure you get good coverage on that. And I'm going to put it a little bit to the right. Be sure it goes down straight. There we go. Nicely done. Set that aside. My Blueberry Bushel. Now, you might want to, let's stamp this. And if you decide that's a little too dark, but I don't really think it is when I look at this, okay? So if you decide it's too dark, though, you could stamp off and stamp on. So I'm going to put my water there. I could add some more water on either side. That would be kind of this lighter look, but I'm fine with that. But since I've got my sun here, you see how your sun's got some rays coming down from it here like this? So I'm going to take the new Shimmer brush in Golden Glow, and I'm going to, now I've already primed this one. It does come with a little ring around here that you take off. Whoops, you have to take this off and then take the ring off because it goes down here. But save that ring in case you're traveling and want to put that back on there to keep ink from coming out. And then you push this, it says push right there, but look at all that shimmer in there. And so what I'm going to do is give a little bit of shimmer for my sun. Now I'm going to go a little wider there. Okay, and it's going to come down to this point. And there's my shimmer. Isn't that just the coolest thing? I love that. I love these new shimmer brushes. We can get them so far only in the new N colors, but next year or sometime soon, they will be out. All right, I've got that on there. I'm going to put my glue on here and put it, isn't this the funniest way to do glue? I will try to put the lid on this little container and see if it will keep it, because I do have a little bit of glue in there, and see how that works. All right, there we go. Turn this over. I'm going to put it inside. I do like to put that back behind there. I'll open it up, come on, so that I can get this in. And I got ink on me. Isn't that nice? Okay, and there we go. Oh, can you see that shimmer on that little sun? I don't know if you can see it or not, but I can see it here in person. It looks so cool. Okay, there's our card. Now, that's kind of the basics of it. You can decorate it however you want. And one thing I did is I loved this net, that the die for that net. Let me show you that. This netting right here. So I cut that out. If you run it through, and I cut it out of Vellum, run it through 2 or 3 times just to, you know, not have to fight with it. But those will pop out really easily. If you only run it through once, you might be needing to run it through again. These under here will not be shown, so I'm not even going to really worry about them. But what I want to do then is take something. On this card, I took a circle punch, the 2 3/8, I believe. And on this one, I took the, let me pull it up here. I've got it here close. The modern oval punch. Now this one is on the last chance list. $20. It's $5 off. So if you want to get that one, you might want to check that out sooner rather than later. All right. Once you've got your sentiment on there, whatever shape you want to use, it needs to fit your sentiment, of course. Then I just put my netting behind it. And in this case, I put a sailboat. In this case, I just put some, and these are all in the dies. I could even put the lighthouse. Here are the seagulls. Here is the sailboat. I cut it and then cut it out of this circle. And, oh, somebody's calling me on my computer. And then here are the shells. Hold on. And about the time I decide to go ahead and answer it, they go away. All right, so let's do this. We're going to go ahead and go with the modern oval because I do love that. And we're going to grab a piece of, you know what I want to do? I want to do this same paper. So I'm going to pull this out and punch that because I think that will be so purty. Don't you think that'll be purty? And then we're going to stamp our sentiment. And, oh, I've got it out here. Let's see, what do we want to do? That one will not fit. That one will not fit. Congratulations. Oh, boy. I don't think I want to do that. You brighten my day. I like that one. So let's pull that out. And we will put that on a block. There we go. Now, let's do Blueberry Bushel. So let's pull that out. And you brighten my day. I love that. Put it over here on the side. Whoops, can you see me? You brighten my day. There we go. Pushed a little too hard on that, but that's okay. Nobody will know but me, right? And, excuse me, once we've got that done, I'm then going to take my seal, and I want it over here on the left-hand side. I am going to put this like that. Okay. It does, I don't want it looking squarish, but it doesn't look squarish like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some more tape runner on there, the seal. And now I've got to decide, where do I want it? You know what? I'm not quite sure that I know yet, so I'm going to put it on there so that it won't glue down on anything. And I'm going to decide what else I want to put on here. One thing I do think I want to do is put a sailboat here or here. I might do it on this one, out in the horizon. So I think I'm going to do that. And then do I want to cut a, do I want to cut the, yeah, let's do the sailboat again. I like that sailboat. So this is it. I'm going to pull in my let me move all of this out of the way. There we go. I'm going to grab some black cardstock, and I want to trim it. I believe that's about 2.5 inches or so. Let's see. So trim it 2 3/4. That works. There we go. I could do less because I'm not going to use the circle at the top, but we're not going to worry about it. Okay, get my plates 1, 2, and 2 for my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm going to put this on there and run it through. Okay. I've got it on paper. If I had it on my glass mat, it would be holding to the desk rather than the paper, which is just moving it. So then I put up my wings. Then I take this off, stack these, and I put this under my, or just, I put the plates under the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. All right, we're going to pull these out. So let's poke all this out, and that will come out very nicely. Okay, pull everything off. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is what I have when I cut it out. So I could even, oh, you know what? I might have to do that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love that. Okay, so never mind. We were going to cut the boat out. If we were going to cut the boat, we would just cut right here and right there. But you know what? I love that. That is so beautiful. All right, I need to mark. I'm going to take the gel pen. These are our new gel pens. They come 2 in a pack. They are really nice. I'm going to lay this flat so I can get exactly where I want to cut it. I'm going to cut inside my little mark there. Did I say we were already done with the paper trimmer? Yeah, I lied. All right. Not intentionally. And cut right inside that line. There we go. Perfect. So many different ways. Oh, you know what? I forgot this though. Ooh. Maybe I'll put this over here. Ooh. All right, well, we'll see. Because I really like that. Maybe I'll put my sentiment on the inside. All right, let's put some glue, our nice smearing glue, on the inside of that. Notice I'm just kind of doing it in the corners. I've got too much on there. And a little bit down here at the bottom and this corner. There we go. Very nice. And then, of course, we want to glue down our boat. Okay. Whoops, did you see that? I'm not standing up. I usually stand up when I do videos, but anyhow. Okay. So, there we go. Oh, I love that. Isn't that awesome? Oh my. Okay, let's put this, you know what, we put glue all the way over there, so this is going to be for another card. we are going to stamp a, you know what I might do is, do I have a sentiment that's this small? Let's see, could I do anniversary? No. All right, let me find real quick. All right, let's go with have a fabulous day, and we're going to put it on the inside. Have a fabulous day. There we go. You know, you don't always have to use the stamp set that you are working with, stamp and die bundle or whatever, to make your sentiment. I love having sentiments, stamps that are just sentiments. This one was, whoa, sorry about that. Oh, I keep knocking this. Is frames and phrases and frames. So let's do this. We're going to go back to our blueberry bushel and put that on the inside. I love that. There we go. Now I normally, I did get that a little crooked, but you know what? It's a homemade card. Okay, there it is. Very nicely done with mistakes and all, and changing what we were going to do, you know? So I love it. All right, I hope you like those. And even with glue on this, that is no big deal. I can put that, make that for another card. I'm in the process of doing several of these anyway. And that way, they're not all exactly the same. All right, so can you see all of those? Let me move these a little bit so that you can see them all. There we go. Notice I've got different color backgrounds for all of them, which is a really good thing. And, sorry, let me go up just a little bit so that you can see them all. I didn't have them where you could see them very well, did I? All right, there you go. Thank you, thank you. Please give me a thumbs up, share the video. If you haven't already subscribed, I would so love it if you would do that. Thank you, and have a good weekend, or whatever it is coming up for you. Thanks.